The COYGIG Pod
on Off the Ball
in association with Cadbury, official snack partner of the Republic of Ireland women's national team.
Katie McCabe, a huge goal.
I'm very proud of the team's performance.
We're going to go out there to beat them. We're going to try and beat them.
Hello and welcome to the COYGIG Podcast. I am Kathleen McNamee, and as ever I am joined by the one and only Karen Duggan to take you through all the weekend's action in the WSL. But we have a very special co-host this week in the one and only Ireland international Jamie Finn. Jamie, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah, well, we're absolutely delighted to have you on. I know you were out at Abbottstown on Friday doing a bit of work for Cadbury's. We all stole some chocolate. It was very nice. I actually still have a couple of the bars here beside me just as my little promo for Cadbury.
Mine is in the post, yeah?
I don't know. Is it happening?
Depends on how nice you are to us, Karen, for the rest of the podcast.
I'll do it without the chocolate. Let's go.
Oh, God.
So Jamie, obviously you're rehabbing at the moment after doing your ACL. I suppose ask you how it's going, just to let the listeners know how you're getting on, because I often say that whenever I go to Tala, there's obviously all the Katie McCabe chants, but I think Jamie Finn chants are the second loudest ones from the fans.
Yes.
So I think everyone would be curious to see how you're getting on.
Yeah, really well, actually. Obviously it's going to be a long road. Like everyone knows, ACL is not a short injury. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm doing my rehab up in Santry Sports Clinic. And yeah, they're happy enough with how it's progressing. I'm up there 3 times a week. So it's going good. It's just obviously going to be a long road, but I know that, so.
Well, hopefully we will be able to help entertain you a bit on this long road back. But it's great that you were saying on Friday that, you know, you're already back on jumping and doing different work on your leg. Yeah,
absolutely. They've been putting me through my paces up there. But like I said, like they're really happy with how it's going. But they're kind of just emphasising you just need to take it week by week with the knee and kind of see how it goes. But yeah, they're happy enough with it now. But it's also nice to be at home. Like I said, I'm up in Santry. I'm from Sword, so it's nice to be at home and yeah, see the family.
Was that your decision or the club?
Well, obviously I got my operation here in Santry, so yeah, I decided to do my rehab here, and then the league is finished now. So yeah, the club have been really supportive in helping me and yeah, kind of being here. So
it's nice to be surrounded by like your family and your friends when you're going through something like this, because I know we've seen a lot of people that have done their ACL, say over in the WSL, say that the mental side of it is almost as difficult as the actual rehabbing and getting yourself back physically.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spoken to a few of the girls as well that are in that kind of ACL club, which is not a nice club to be in, but yeah, like they just said, yeah, it's going to be tough, and that's what obviously it was kind of a good thing that I could get home and be at home and do it at home, so I can kind of be around family and they can help me as much as they can. Yeah.
And we get to see you around the place a little bit more, which I think a lot of our fans will be very happy about. Karen, how are you doing? Any woes that you need to get off your chest on this fine bank holiday Monday?
I don't have woes. I never have woes. I never come to this podcast in a bad mood after a weekend, especially not a bank holiday weekend.
After a win.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Good win for you guys at the weekend?
Yeah, good win. Played really well. Probably the best we've played in a long time. And obviously we had to play well because not only are you playing against a really good team in Shamrock Rovers, that pitch is massive. Obviously Jamie is well able to get around it, but it's been a while since I've had to do it. And you forget how big it is. So if you're kind of off the pace, it's really easy to like leave yourself open and get exploited on it. But yeah, I thought we did really well. Great to see Erin getting on the score sheet. 2 brilliant goals. Ellen Dolan was standout again for us. So yeah, we're happy.
I was going to say the goals were particularly impressive, and I know you said a couple of times that you felt like you guys maybe just needed something that would help jolt you into action. Do you feel like you've got that over the last couple of weekends with some good results, good goals?
Yeah, I think it's the kind of grit that we needed to get back. We got that a bit against Galway. We probably were a little bit too safe against Galway and didn't create enough chances. But when we had that little bit of confidence, then we kind of felt like we could push on again, and they were playing a different system and trying new things. It is trial and error still at the moment, especially with the number of injuries we have. But yeah, really proud of the effort that everyone's been putting in, especially since that big loss to Athlone. So everyone's bounced back really well, which is really, really good. Obviously still chasing Galway, who were doing brilliantly, and Shelburne again got another win at the weekend. So like we're still off chasing a league title, but I think it's more so concentrating on ourselves, just getting back to playing how we know we can. That's the most important thing for us at the moment, because obviously after the summer we don't want to just make up the numbers at Champions League, so we need to get back to where we were last year and better probably.
Can't wait to break out the Champions League music for you whenever the time comes around. Just every time you appear on the podcast, we'll just forget our actual normal COYGIG sting. We'll just have the champions. Although it is different.
The women's one is different. It's not as good.
I know. Yeah. I think it's as well just because you it's so closely associated to the Champions League that when you bring in something new or different, it's just not the same. Jamie, I don't know, have you managed to catch much of the league here so far? But Galway are doing brilliantly. Karen did predict this at the start of the year, so we do have video evidence that she was right on at least one thing.
Yeah, I actually seen the attendance as well for the Galway game. That's absolutely brilliant, like, to see that. So yeah, they need to keep doing that, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that was amazing, like, to break records again. And obviously they put on a show for the home crowd. I think it was very clever the way they marketed it and picking that game. I felt like they were always going to win that game as well. So yeah, it's good. And hopefully other clubs will do similar, especially when you've got Galway United as one club now and they have the backing of the men's teams. And you see when you do pique people's interest, what can be done. So I hope especially the bigger clubs continue to do that and continue to promote the women's side of the game, because that's how they'll grow.
I do think it's interesting that a lot of it is coming from like Treaty and Galway, in that it's not the big Dublin clubs. You know, like Treaty have said several times this year that they want to keep breaking the attendance record. We obviously saw the weekend with Galway doing a great job as well. It's nice to see that that's happening outside of the big city, and that, you know, because it's going to only help grow those clubs in those areas and also the sport in general.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ciara McCormack was coming into Treaty and she really wanted to make a mark, and she's comes from the women's side of football, so I mean she was never going to let that slip, which is great to see. We're down there next week, so I'm actually looking forward to playing against them, because they're a completely different outfit this year. It's not like days of the past where you'd go down you wouldn't really be looking forward to. I think it's going to be a really good battle. So yeah, fair play to them for what they've done. And again, Galway United coming under one umbrella, that was really important for them to grow as a club, because, you know, it's a huge footballing area, Galway. You know, there is huge passion for that club there. So yeah, no, it's great, and fair play to them if they have the means and the resources and the support. I think, you know, it's great. Jealous. Although my mum and dad are great supporters as well.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You would never be jealous of anything, Karen. You're so above all that.
Of course.
Jamie, championship season just ended. We saw our Irish contingent, the trio, getting promoted to the WSL, which is great. We were chatting to Abby on Friday. She was in great mood after the celebrations all week. For you, reflecting on the season, kind of with the injury to the side, how did you find it? Because it's an incredibly competitive championship, and, you know, there was several points where we were talking about it, Karen, and we kind of had no idea who was going to be the one that will come out on top, because everyone was so tightly packed at various points in the season.
Yeah, like, from an outsider looking in, it's great for the league to be like that. We didn't know who was going to win. Obviously, we wanted to be up there and in and about it, but I think for us, like, it was kind of an up and down season, really. We got some consistency, but I think it was like 7 games in a row with a win. But yeah, ultimately, I think Palace deserved it in the end. I think they were the most consistent team. Scored loads of goals, defensively sound. So yeah, I think they deserved it. And yeah, congrats to all the Irish girls there.
There was a few hoarse voices around the place, definitely, from all the celebrations. We had Hayley Nolan on off the ball during the week, and the poor girl could barely speak, but she was so happy with it. In terms of looking ahead to the next season, like what are the sort of conversations when you're in with your club and you are looking to improve and get back into the WSL? Because when it's getting more and more competitive, I imagine it's getting more and more difficult to do things to differentiate what you've done from the previous year so that you can actually make the difference and be the one that goes up to the WSL.
Yeah, I think obviously we don't, like, I think the championship is such a unique league, as in when we first came down, it was obviously an adjustment from the WSL. We weren't really on the ball as much, whereas comparison to the championship, yeah, you're on the ball, you need to score goals, and you're kind of, yeah, you need to do that rather than kind of sitting back and defending. But yeah, that was a shift in mentality, and obviously our first season we missed out by a point, with only one going up, which is difficult, with one only going up. But yeah, I think for us we have the advantage of being in the league now of 3 seasons, coming into the 3rd season, so we need to use that to our advantage. Other teams coming into the league and stuff, Newcastle and big name clubs like coming into the league, but we need to use our advantages, and yeah, hopefully get promoted next season, because I think it's where we need to be, and it's where as a club Birmingham should be in the WSL. Such a huge club, with such great history in the WSL. So yeah, hopefully next season that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it many times in this podcast before. I'm very much advocate for 2 up, 1 down system to give teams an opportunity to develop, because I think, you saw it with Bristol this year. They were so close on some occasions of getting some really great results and just didn't. And now they've gone straight back down. And I don't know how much you can benefit or build off that. Obviously, they did brilliant with their attendances and stuff, but it doesn't leave a lot of room for growth, which we definitely still need to make sure we're doing below the WSL level. Kind of like the way you're nodding away at me there, being like, yes, Kathleen.
Change the whole system.
I'm just preaching to the choir. Well, we are now going to turn our attention to Emma Carroll and our team of the week. Emma, welcome to the podcast. How are we doing?
The bank holiday. How's it going?
Feeling fine, feeling fresh, as they say. Emma, do you want to run through who you have on your team?
Yeah, I've changed up the goalkeepers this week. I'm very close to not doing it.
I'm going to come back to this at the end.
We can come back to this.
Yeah.
Mika in goal, 3 at the back, Guy Visto, Greenwood and Charles, and then a kind of 5 midfield-ish. Hemp, Little, Hasegawa, Spence, Brighton, and then Beaver Jones and Blackstenius up front. And we can come back to the goalkeeper, because I was so close to going 3 in a row.
Yeah. Courtney will disown us. She was going for what, 3 in a row?
Yeah.
Well, we'll just do a special mention shout out to her, because the fact that she was even highlighted after the game on the highlights show just shows how important she was and how big the saves she was making were. And particularly when the goals that they did concede were kind of like shaky and mistakes, and it could unnerve you. But for her to keep out some of the goal worth shots this week, I thought she was incredible. But yeah, obviously other goalkeepers are there too.
Oh yeah, I know. I took off the green tinted lenses, stuck on the red ones. I just think the 2 games from the week, big saves to give like Liverpool those 6 points, and put them into 4th place. Just massive. Especially that Aggie Beaver, the save from Aggie Beaver Jones in the Chelsea game, and then a similar one with Mallard as well, in the United game as well. So great week.
I was going to ask, did that Chelsea game come into your reflection anymore? You were threatening last week that you were going to use it.
Yeah. I kind of was like, so I'll put Gemma Bonner in there, Leanne Kiernan, like, what a goal from Leanne Kiernan on Wednesday against Chelsea. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, I was going to, but then, we had some big games, so I couldn't, and some big results and big performances from players that kind of really needed to show up, and they did. I think, well, like Wrighton, 4 goals and an assist, like she's probably the player of the weekend. Almost cut that goal difference in half herself.
You could pick a lot of Chelsea players from the weekend, because they were all 8, 9 out of 10, like from start to finish, even the subs who came on. And game on from Chelsea. Like Yeah, I mean, Beaver Jones is excellent. Macario when she came on,
Macario's
they're all very
class.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, who would you have picked out from the weekend that you thought was a good performer?
Yeah, you just said there right, and I think like for the amount of injuries Chelsea have, I think for her to step up and score a hat-trick, like she's been like instrumental in Chelsea's kind of league run this season. But like you need to kind of lean on those players and step up in a title race like this when you have the likes, I know Millie Bright is back now and stuff like that. Sam Kerr, like you need these players to step up and to score a hat-trick and for Chelsea to score 8 goals. Yeah. As you say, Karen, game on.
The game on, it's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
talking of people stepping up, Kim Little obviously got brought on at halftime. Now, I would never have her on a bench, even if she had one leg. I would start her because she's the best midfielder in the world. But yeah, I think she made City a little bit scared, and City retreated, and I think that it was because of her. And in the end, to pick out the pass for the winning goal for Blackstenius, like, yeah, not too many people are putting that in a sixpence like her under those circumstances in the 90 odd minutes. So yeah, she's a boss.
Just class. Like just there was one moment and she just on the edge of the box. I think there might have been 3 players around her. She just so tightly turned and flicked and passed the ball out to Catley, and then Arsenal are away again on the attack. Like she's just a class player.
I do just loves Blackstenius's tendency as well to score absolutely chaotic goals that throw the whole league into.
Only Stina.
There's always something slightly magnificent to it as well, in the fact that I think that's like the first headed goal or City have conceded all season. Right. And like that Kim Little pass that came just beforehand, obviously that was brilliant. She had it basically on a needle thread for her, and then she just put it in the goal. Like I couldn't believe my eyes, even when it was going to the extra time. And we'll talk a bit about this in a second, but like I actually don't know how I feel because I don't really want Chelsea to win the league.
Yeah. Yeah, that must be hard for as an Arsenal supporter to have that kind of turmoil of yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's very difficult. I was very, very conflicted watching the game because I celebrated in the moment, obviously, and then I was like, oh no, we're going to score a heap of goals against City or Bristol City, and then everything's going to go to the final weekend, which is good for the general excitement of the league, to be fair. Jamie, is there anyone else that you would pick out from who Emma has there, or maybe someone that you feel like she may have missed that got out?
No, I think Lauren Hemp as well. I think she's such a great player. I know from playing against her, when you come up against her, you know you're in for a tough day. Honestly, she's so strong, so fast, so physical. I think she's a great player as well, and to get the goal for City. And I think again she's been instrumental in City's kind of title race as well. Like obviously Bunny Shaw getting injured, these people need to step up and come up with goals, and she has done, and she is quite young as well. And for City to kind of seal the deal with getting a contract extension as well, I mean that's fantastic for City. I think she's such a great player, and she's so young that she'll only get better and better.
And it's scary. Like I was watching her the day in the Aviva, obviously against Ireland, and like I don't know if any right back in the world would have been able to put up with that, but she ran that whole side of us ragged in the first half. She took her foot off the pedal a little bit in the second half, which we were very grateful for, but like she was ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought that she won the Young Player of the Year award like 3 times, and last year was the first year she couldn't win it because she finally turned 22.
Pass it now.
Yeah, I mean, considering everything she's achieved already in her career, if she was to retire in the morning, she would have a fairly decorated cabinet, and we still have potentially another 10 plus years of her.
And very important that City managed to get her to sign that new contract as well, because it was kind of looking like she might be going at the end of the season. So big signing.
Lots of big moves being made in the WSL this week. Emma, I know you were keeping track of the Chelsea departures. You had a very good prediction. When you saw one go, you were like, right, let's go down the list.
Yeah, I think once you've seen Mielda going, you're like, right, there's more on the way. And I think just the way Kirby has been a bit part player this season, you kind of knew that she was probably going to be making her move out, and there's probably going to be 1 or 2 more at the end of the season. It's definitely an end of an era, but when you look at the players that's coming through, like you can't see them not competing next season when you look at, Lauren James, Aggie Beaver-Jones, Macario, Ramirez. Kerr's going to have to come back from injury.
Yeah, and I think to be fair to Emma Hayes, for her to, I think that was really clever of her doing all the signing before she was leaving. She still wants Chelsea to thrive and leave the club in a good place to continue to compete next year. She's just not just having a swan song herself and saying, right girls, off we go. So yeah, they were very good in the transfer market, and teams like Man United could learn a thing or two.
Well, guess what? Yeah, you have the FA Cup final, so
I suppose.
Emma, thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it, as always.
Cheers. See you later.
So now we are going to turn our attention to the games specifically themselves, and it was an excellent weekend, I have to say. You had Liverpool beating Manchester United just by the margin of 1 goal. Then you obviously had Arsenal beating City in that horrendously dramatic fashion in the dying moments of the game, and Chelsea doing their goal difference a lot of favours by banging 8 goals past Bristol, who I think are just at the stage of the season of please let it all
You'd be so
end.
tired, wouldn't you? If you were just playing for Bristol, you'd be so tired.
You just want to get to the final weekend and sign off and say, thank you, WSL. It's been fun. Hopefully see you sometime soon. But let's start with that Arsenal City result, because it probably is the one that is going to matter the most for the title race. An absolutely astounding result in all generally. Chelsea still have to play Tottenham. That game's on Wednesday, and then they will face off against United on the 18th, while City have to play Aston Villa. So some sticky fixtures in there for Chelsea. Potentially City probably have the better chance of definitely securing the points. Karen, thoughts, feelings about the title race now that it's here? I mean, you've said pretty much for most of the season you think City might just pip it.
I had a caveat if Bunny Shaw was fit.
That's true.
That was my caveat. If she was going to be missing for the rest of the season, I didn't know. And yeah, to be fair, I don't think Man City deserved to win the game yesterday, but having held the lead for as long as they did, and to have held out to the 88th minute, you would be absolutely kicking yourself. I think it's cliche. Game of 2 halves. I thought City obviously very good in the first. Arsenal came out in the second, totally affected by Kim Little coming on the park and changing the whole dynamic of the Arsenal team and just adding a bit more tempo to their game, a bit more variety. Yeah, it was just one of those ones you could see Alex Greenwood just had. It's one of those ones, when the ball is in the air and you're like, I should be jumping here or I should be doing something, but your body doesn't react and you're just like, oh no. And it was like slow motion, but it was a good finish by Blackstenius, but you would just they'll be kicking themselves.
They looked devastated after the game ended because they knew, Jamie, that they had it all in their hands. All they had to do was just keep going, final 2 games, and the title was theirs.
Yeah, if you were City, you were absolutely devastated. If you're Arsenal, obviously you won the game, and then if you're a Chelsea fan, as I said, game on. It could come down to the last
I was
day.
nearly surprised by Jonas Eidevall being so celebratory on the sidelines, because I wouldn't have thought he really wanted to help Chelsea after some recent comments.
I think it's possibly Arsenal's season has been so disastrous in general, and to lose to City at this stage would just be another hammer blow. I'd say in that moment he wasn't thinking about Chelsea at all. It was, well, his job is safe because for some unknown reason they gave him a contract far too early in the season.
Yeah,
but it would have been.
Arsenal are just such a obviously huge team, and you can never write them off, no matter what time it's at, and that just proved it. As you said, for Kim Little to come on at half time, for players of that caliber to be on the bench to come on and put the ball on a plate for Blackstenius,
I do. I think it helps him for next year as well, finishing on a high, because they need to feel like they're on that trajectory and that they're better than Man City, who I thought have been the best team so far, and well, obviously throughout the whole league. So he'll use that a little bit, being like, oh, look, at the start of the season we had blips, but we had injuries, and look at how we've bounced back since. And he'll probably use that as motivation next year. If the dressing room are still bought into him, like you say, it was a bit of a mad thing getting a contract that early, but here we are.
Well, it's just he needs to bring some sort of consistency into the team. You know, you look at the result against City, and that's the first time they've won there in like 7 years or something mad. And that, like, that's a real sign of progress that they were able to do that. But then you look at some of the other performances against maybe the lower teams that they should be beating, and the consistency just hasn't been there. And it shouldn't be a case of depending on a Blackstenius mad run and in the 89th and 90 whatever minute it was. You know, you should have that consistency of scoring in the team, and I just haven't really seen that from Arsenal this season, Jamie.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's been kind of an up and down season for them. Obviously results that you'd expect them to beat teams, and they haven't. But like Karen said, I think they'll take the positive from that game. They got 3 points, and leading into the summer, they'll maybe bring in new players and stuff, and hopefully they'll have a better season for themselves next season. Because I think a team like Arsenal want to be winning the league. They want to be up there. They want to be in and around Chelsea and competing with them. And if you're an Arsenal player, you want to win the league for such a big club.
Yeah, I wonder what Eidevall's planning. Like, do they go after another marquee striker after getting Russo last year, or do they just try and bed down a better system? I don't know. I don't know what the plan is.
I don't think they've really worked out what the system is to like best utilize her, and also just best utilize a lot of the players in the team. Like, I remember at the start of the season, we were talking to Emma Byrne about the fact that they were just crossing balls into the box constantly, but there didn't seem to be a proper target on a lot of the balls that were coming in. So it was just a lot of wasted ball. Whereas
it's been better since Beth Mead has come back and is on her game a bit. But yeah, you're right. At the start of the season, there was no.
And we've seen from him as well, like, in-game management isn't always the best. Now, there's an argument to be made that it worked quite well for them against City at the weekend. But generally, you know, if Arsenal are down, you don't actually expect him to be able to rewrite the script and do something to change it up and get a win. So yeah, a lot of rebuilding to be done for them during the summer. But for City and Chelsea, it's all still on. And it's kind of ironic in a way, after last week, Emma Hayes saying that the title race was done, and then yesterday being like, let me be clear, it's not over.
Yeah, she's a lot to take at the moment, to be honest. The last few weeks, I've had enough of the Emma Hayes ups and downs, to be honest. Fair play to Chelsea at all, but yeah, I suppose we like the drama.
Yeah, I personally do think they'll beat Spurs, and I do think they'll beat.
I think they'll beat United as well.
United, yeah, I do think they will. I think the momentum from the 8-0 will bring them through these last two games, and then they obviously have the tougher game in the last game. But I genuinely do think they'll win and win the league.
Jamie, what have you made of the Emma Hayes roller coaster that has been the last couple of weeks, with all the random comments, the giving up, and then mere days later being like, nope, it's not all over?
It's football, isn't it? Like, as a manager, it's up and down. It is. No, but I think Emma Hayes has been brilliant for Chelsea and women's football in general. I think she's been outstanding, to be honest, and she'll be a big loss for Chelsea. But obviously, going over to the States, looking forward to seeing how she gets on over there.
I wonder what the States players are thinking watching everything the last couple of weeks. I know, like, you can't write off a 12-year career over maybe things getting to your head and emotions getting to you a little bit over the course of, you know, a couple of weeks, but it's not a lot of time before she's straight into Olympics and, you know, quite serious competitions for the US.
I think she'll love it. I think they love all that, though. They love a bit of like drama and animation and all that kind of crack. So I think that they'll be buzzing for it. I think that they were so sick of the previous regime and want to kind of kick on and go back to their view of them being the best in the world. And now they probably do have the best female manager in the world. So I think they'll be buzzing to get going. It'll probably give her a new lease of life. And I was just looking at, you know, obviously Carla Ward is leaving Villa, and just how drained she seemed in her interview, and just how much it had taken out of her. And you think of what it takes out of all of the coaches and what Emma Hayes has managed to achieve over the years. I know I joke about her, but like it is unbelievable. It's absolutely outstanding how she's managed her life and career and everything over the last few years. Obviously she mentioned her son and then losing her dad and stuff. And yeah, I think there'll be a lot of like in years to come talking about the Emma Hayes impact on the league.
100%. I mean, it's unqualified, I think, even at the moment, how much her influence has changed the way the league is run. Like, if you didn't have a team like Chelsea developing the way that they did, and you think of when she first came in and she was fighting just to get jerseys and bibs and balls and proper place to play for them, to them now offering some of the best contracts in, you know, women's sport, offering proper training, offering proper knowledge and committing research to the game, it would be a very different place without her. So despite the dramatics of the last couple of weeks, we can't really take anything away from her when it comes to that side of things. Karen, United, how are we feeling?
Yeah.
Same as most weeks. Not overly enthused by any of it. I mean, Liverpool, I know they are similar points and Liverpool will probably take that fourth spot, but Liverpool will be so happy and feel like they can really kick on and continue to develop. And I'm looking at Man United and I'm saying little drop off from last year. Going to need a big summer to not let that become a consistent drop off and something like what happened to a Villa or West Ham this year happen. But maybe they're just saving all their energy for the FA Cup. Maybe. They had chances. I mean, like Liverpool keeper pulled off a few good saves, but like Liverpool had more shots. Like United had possession, but again, they just don't have a killer edge. Don't have a striker. I don't think so. Yeah, fair play to Liverpool, I guess.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Liverpool and what Matt Beard has done there. I think he's done a really good job of getting a consistent team together and getting really, really good results in the league. And they're probably looking at finishing fourth. I mean, that's brilliant.
That's unbelievable. Like that's an unbelievable achievement for them.
Yeah,
also United's worst finish since they joined the league. So
thanks, Callie.
Rubbing it in there.
A signed Liverpool jersey that I can see in the background behind you there.
Yeah. I do actually.
Coming at me from all angles.
Yeah.
Jesus. Is that yours or one of the families?
That's mine from years ago. Yeah, years ago. I am a big Liverpool supporter. Yeah.
This is good. We have more rivalries being added to the podcast. So Arsenal are just so much better than United that Karen doesn't get much of an opportunity to get one up.
I know. I've started grasping at looking at Sligo GAA just to like get digs in now.
In fairness, they will give you plenty of ammunition. Yeah. I was devastated yesterday seeing Galway win. I was like, after what they did to Sligo and that last minute goal, I just wanted them to get absolutely hammered, which obviously did not happen. But good thing this is a soccer podcast and not a GAA. Jamie, what is it that you've seen out of this Matt Beard team this season in particular that has impressed you and is the thing that is why they're now in that position where they're like pretty much got fourth?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, the consistency of the team, the performances throughout the team have been over a 6, 7 out of 10. Like, and to compete in the WSL, you need to be consistent. Like, can't just go out and beat a top team and then maybe go up against West Ham, the Brightons, and lose. Like, you need to be consistent in every single game you're playing. And I think just he's kind of obviously drilled that into them, and performances wise they've been really, really good. And like as I said, the results they've gotten off big teams have been brilliant. And to finish fourth probably is I mean, that's some achievement for Liverpool.
It's class.
Yeah, and they've had, I think, a lot of players who've just had particularly good seasons as well. You know, we've seen it from Sari Holland at various different points, Hobringer as well coming in. Coy Visto was on Team of the Week this week. Yes. Micah too, Gemma Bonner. Like, you could probably name most of the squad and point to several points of the season where they have bedded in and pulled out like a brilliant performance.
Yeah, it's also great to see Leanne Kernan back. I think if you can keep her fit and constantly playing, she's such a threat for Liverpool. In those up kind of whatever position Matt plays her in, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah, I think if you get her on the pitch, get her playing consistently, and yeah, she's such a threat for Liverpool, I think.
Yeah. I think that consistently playing confidently and Kiernan becomes a massive influence on our Irish team. I think she's such a threat and such an outlet, especially in games where we are going to have to give up a lot of possession. I think she'll be huge for us. So I'm hoping everything crossed that she can stay consistently fit and be on the ball for us, because yeah, she's so talented.
Yeah, it was brilliant to see her get a score on the sheet as well. I mean, like that Liverpool-Chelsea game during the week was absolutely insane. I was texting Emma Carroll during it, just being like, what is going on? But the perfect level of Barclays chaos that we want too. You want to see teams like Liverpool pulling off these mad results against Chelsea. So I'm sure you enjoyed that one too, Jamie, if you are an ardent Liverpool fan. Elsewhere, we also, Karen, you mentioned Courtney Brosnan a little bit earlier. Could have been a lot worse for Everton at the weekend had she not been between the posts.
Yeah, I mean, they had the perfect start. They went 2 goals up, and like I've kind of been saying, fair play to Everton, because they've had to put up with a lot of injuries and stuff, and changes in their squad, and they've done really well in recent games. Obviously they conceded a couple of goals just before halftime and after halftime, worst time to concede. But yeah, it's just Courtney's. She's so underrated. I know we talk about her all the time on this podcast, but like I just think everyone else should too.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. Like, I am always of the opinion that she should be at a bigger club than Everton. Jamie, we are kind of like heads of the Courtney Brosnan fan club on this podcast, because we just think every week she pulls out absolutely mad saves, and then when you look at her in an Irish context, she's arguably as important to us as any other player on the pitch. You know, probably her and Katie are up there as two of the most influential on how we play. And we've just always been confused as to why she hasn't really been picked up by a bigger WSL club or given those opportunities. Even at Everton, sometimes it's been weird. You know, they've signed young English goalkeepers, and Courtney hasn't maybe got her starting spot totally nailed down. But you get to work with her on the Irish side of things, so you get to see up close and personal what she's like off the pitch as well as on it.
Yeah, on the pitch, obviously you can see she's outstanding. I think she is such a good goalkeeper. Even off the ball, commanding those players. You can tell she commands the back line, and she knows what she's talking about, where to be and stuff. And yeah, some of her saves and training, I'm like, wow. Everyone just stands and claps. She's brilliant. And yeah, I think if she keeps performing the way she is, she will be picked up by a big team, I think. It's only a matter of time if she keeps performing the way she is, and she's been brilliant for the Irish team as well. Absolutely outstanding. It's so good to have a keeper like that behind you when you're playing in front of her. The confidence that gives you is immense, and yeah, she's been brilliant, and off the pitch, she's such a lovely girl. Really, really nice. Like, can't speak highly of her. She's such a nice girl.
That's the thing I always find hilarious about Courtney, because you interview her or talk to her, and she's literally the sweetest, like most genuine person, really, really nice. Then you see her on the pitch absolutely screaming at a defender or something, and just like the two sides of her, and the fact that she's able to do that as well is a real sign of her talent.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's the professionalism she has, like just to be able to switch off and do that, like on the pitch, and then come off and just be this calm, like person just chilling. But yeah, no, she's been outstanding, and long may that continue for both club and country.
Yeah, well, Emma Byrne would always say on the show that you need to be a little bit cracked to be a goalkeeper, so it's good that Courtney is able to utilize.
Never had a normal goalkeeper. Never. Fact.
Karen, you mentioned earlier about the news that came during the week that Carla Ward was moving on, and I thought her statement was really interesting. It was a decision she'd made earlier in the season, and that she felt like it was time to dedicate a bit more space in her life to her family. And I mean, it'll be a big loss for the league, because she's been such a standout goalkeeper. I still have goalkeepers on the mind. Standout manager in the league, and I think a lot of people felt that she could have a trajectory that would take her, you know, grow towards a Emma Hayes sort of, not in the complete because she's at the top, but she's always been talked about in that sort of context.
Yeah, so obviously it is a pity to see her drop out of the league, but like I said earlier, it kind of is a symptom of how hard it is to balance everything. Obviously the league is getting more and more professional, the expectations are higher, there's more eyes on you, and we all, us included on this podcast, expected Villa to do a lot better this year than what they have. And I'd say she expected it of herself, and when it doesn't happen and the team, the team look like they mirrored how she is, like they can be lethargic a little bit at times and you just expect more out of them, and I'd say that's been very draining for her, but yeah, it's you hate seeing the loss of, like, especially female local managers to the league, because I think it's really important, the whole visual aspect, still to get more female coaches wanting to get to that highest level. So hopefully there's another up and comer coming through who can take her place.
Yeah, Jamie, we kind of said at the start of the year that we thought Aston Villa could be one of the teams that would challenge, your Liverpools, United, Spurs when it came to going for that fourth place. But unfortunately, that hasn't really happened or turned out. And I don't think it wasn't just us as well. There was a lot of other people saying it too, but it's just been obvious that things haven't really come together for them this year.
Yeah, like Karen said, it's obviously sad to see a manager of her stature go. But obviously there's reasons for her leaving. I think Villa are such a big club. Like obviously Villa and Birmingham have big rivalry. But yeah, obviously Villa are such a big club. And you'd like to see a manager come in there and really kind of put structure. And they obviously had structure, but get their own structure to it and really kind of drive them on. Because as you said, like you probably kind of thought they would have done a bit better this season with the players they have, and they just need someone to come in and kind of bring that out on them, I suppose.
Yeah. Just to rejuvenate it, I think. That's just what they need, and I think if they can keep a lot of the players that they have in the squad, they still will do very well. If they can keep a Kenza Dali, we'll say, I think obviously you can build a team around her. But yeah, we'll see what next season holds.
We sure will. Well, Jamie, thank you very much for joining us this week. It was a pleasure to have you. And of course, we hope the training keeps going well and getting back on the pitch very, very soon, because I think from an Irish perspective, a lot of us would be very eager to see that. Karen, pleasure as always.
Kathleen.
Thank you very much. The COYGIG Pod on Off the Ball is sponsored by Cadbury, official snack partner to the Republic of Ireland women's national team. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us, at the COYGIG Pod on Twitter or X, whichever you can remember to refer to it by. We're always on there looking for any of your questions or thoughts on this final run-in in the WSL title race. Thank you all for listening, and we will chat to you all again very, very soon.
The COYGIG Pod on Off the Ball, in association with Cadbury, official snack partner of the Republic of Ireland women's national team.